Here's a scene of Oda and myself relaxing after having dinner at his home. He treated me like a son, often suggesting that I do other things in Japan besides judo. In his day, he was considered the greatest newaza technician in Japan, if not the world. He often traveled to Europe showing his methods. Oda had developed a very comprehensive newaza system, which is the basis for teaching newaza today. He was an absolute genius at developing traps to go into arm bars and chokes. Oda described newaza as being more like a hibi or snake. You coiled around your opponent, controlling him, moving slowly from one position to another. He had a unique method of holding the gi, where he'd fold the material into the palm of his hand, thereby keeping a tight control and also being able to walk from one position to another with his hands.
Hi, this is Shadi, and today we are going to be looking at Okada Sensei's footage, him being one of Tsunetane Oda's prominent students. So we're going to get a little bit more clear view on what Oda used to do. There's a lot of basics and classics in his footage. It's called the Oda method. You can find it on YouTube. But there is little bits of details that can be added to basic stuff like guard passes, takedowns, etc. that in my opinion are very valuable. Not necessarily lost per se, but they're very rare, so it's very nice to shine a light on them and also find out some of the tricks that are being used today to see where they actually come from. So without further ado, the first one is what I call the Okuri Erie Sankaku Jime. So this one here, I was talking with Pedro Valente. A lot of people said that when he scissored Elio's chest with this triangle, but it wasn't a locked triangle, people thought that it was a dojime from the side, but it was actually the pull on the gi that made Elio fall asleep. So he actually locked a triangle on the chest level, but proceeded to pull on the gi. So here, let's see it here. He actually wraps the skirt on his hand, tying it up in order to prevent a defense. And here he proceeds to pull on the gi in the triangle. So it's a Erie Sankaku Jime, if you want to call it. This is how Elio Gracie actually fell asleep. It's not the triangle, it's not the body scissors or a dojime. Here you can see it from guard. A lot of people, I know, they like to grab their ankle when they do that. So like sticking their arm if they don't have the arm in order to lock a triangle choke. So here you can see this is like a reversed kanto choke in a sense while you're pulling the gi, but actually locking the triangle. Very reminiscent of also I would call it lost judo choke, hidari ashijime, which we'll see it in a little bit. So here you are seeing it. It looks like you're locking a triangle, but you're actually pulling on the gi. Here you can also do an arm lock where you extend your hips and actually do a here you see the arm locks. You extend it kind of like an Americana or an Udegarami, kind of like what Gordon Ryan did in his super fight. I forgot the name of his opponent. Very similar, he did it here. Also you can choke, you can pull an arm lock. I would call Sankaku or a triangle a position rather than a submission. You can do so much from it. Arm locks, as you see here, chokes, pins, etc. I would call Sankaku a position in my opinion. So here you can see the hidari ashijime. You're actually pulling on the gi. One foot is on the hips and the other is on top, slicing down on the neck, kind of like a reverse kanto choke, like I said. So this would be also considered an okuri erijime. Now let's go to takedowns. Look at this ankle pick here. So you actually pull the ankle from underneath them while actually pushing down on the medialis muscle, which is right above the knee. So this is like maybe you would call it a low single, maybe, but like a judo variation of it. It's a very distinct ankle pick, or kibisugaishi. They actually call it ashitori otoshi, which is leg grab drop. Very different than your kibisugaishi, because kibisugaishi here you are seeing here in front of you, you actually need somewhat of an upper body control, where you can kuzushi and then pull down on the sleeve, push it down the sleeve, and then pick the ankle from underneath them but this one is like shooting on the leg, very minimal contact off the grip. Now let's look at here Furi Otoshi, which is like a swinging drop, which is a counter to O Sotogari. You're gonna have to be very quick. It's all about timing. This one, I don't think you can do it with like traditional uchikomi. So here, someone attacks with the Osotogari. You take their forward momentum before they reap, and then you would take them down. You can actually also classify this as Uki Otoshi, but let's not forget that Oda was from the Kyoto branch, so he wasn't very a Kodokan traditionalist in terms of naming things. So here you see he called it Furi Otoshi, or swinging drop. Now, let's go to guard passes. This one here, it might look very traditional, you know, where you stack, you underhook, overhook. Here, this one, you are actually grabbing both legs, but entering like a stack pass in a sense. Here, let's take a look here. You are actually grabbing underhooks. He actually brings the arm towards the buttocks, which really prevents him from doing anything or really turning towards him while you are actually passing, which was also another setup for something else. Here, see the wrist grab. It's very crucial. A lot of people grab the pants also, but you know, very classical. But this little detail here with grabbing the wrist is very crucial. So it's very similar to your Rickson Gracie's classical guard pass. So here he moves to the side where he's gonna pass, pinning the knee on the low end of the buttocks, or between like the low end of the vertebrae, and steps and starts to really open up. And then, this is from the closed guard, by the way. The one from Okada was an open guard. So here you can see he's actually opening the guard before he's passing it. So here you can see the same thing, the overhook here, and starts to shift his weight while grabbing the gi. But here instead he grabs the pants, shifts his weight, sinks his hips, takes the shoulder deep into the leg, and then passes. Very similar principles. Keep in mind here, Okada is an old man. He's not going to be as agile, but demonstrating the same principles. But get this, the wrist grab, as I mentioned here, can also be a way to prevent the choke defense, because as you are passing, you are using that leg before you release it in passing, and you grab the collar as you are passing. You can set it up as a kata tejime. Here you grab a cross collar choke and then sink your forearm and wrist into their windpipe, which makes it a kata tejime. And also the leg pressure on their chest before you even completed the pass will accentuate the choke, in my opinion. So it's a great setup as a pass, but also a great choke entry. And look how he's pinning the arm with his shin, and also he can grab the wrist as you saw before. It's a great way to really immobilize someone, eliminate all their options, passing them, and also at the same time choking them. So it's a little bit of detailing that's added to very basic stuff. So here, let's talk about attacks from the half guard, or the lockdown, what they call. So here, he actually turns him to the side, almost like he's gonna take his back, but also like you can either do like here a kata hajime. He doesn't turn towards him like to his side, like doing a baseball bat choke or anything. He actually, as if he's trying to take his back, he stays in the guard and does like a kata hajime. There's also collapsing the arm, sinking the arm like a katagatame, and also doing a wrist lock. Here you can see pulling the gi. You can just pull the gi, you don't have to like insert your arm like kata hajime. So here you can see a little bit more, another angle, kata hajime, or single wing choke. You actually expose the back and then you proceed to choke. That's a very nice principle in my opinion. Most people just go into their stomach and then starts maybe to like a kimura tie up, and then free the leg and then attack from side control. But here you can see it's let's see here this variation from the choke. So he goes in, you can actually wrist lock, as you can see here. You can actually pin the back of the hand here and wrist lock, and also choke with katagatame. So that's a nice wrist lock you can add to your arsenal. This one here, I know someone said that in one of my MMA analysis, that choking a guillotine while you're inside control, I forgot the name, it's something very recent. But here also what really stood out to me is actually how he anchored his foot down. Also very old school. We're going to see Pedro Sauer demonstrating it. So here, when you turn towards them, actually anchor the back leg down here. So you turn towards him and then you anchor the back foot in order to prevent them from really rolling into you again. And then you insert the other leg inside if you want to recover guard, or here you can just choke as Okada is doing. This principle here, as Pedro Sauer demonstrating it, again, Rickson's generation, they know the old school stuff. And then here, you tend to turn towards them, anchoring your foot, because here he explains that if you don't have the foot, he can easily roll into you, and then you're back to square one. Also, what I like about Pedro is that he added, so here he's actually explaining that don't recover guard with the back leg, recover it with the front leg, because he's gonna roll into you and then you're gonna lose everything. But what I like about Pedro also, he also cups the inside of his thigh of the leg that's anchoring him. That's also another detail that I think it's cool by Pedro. Again, the old generation, they know best. The basics will take you a very long way. You can win with them in IBJJF gi World Championship, I would say. Like, even with classical Oda's teachings, that's how precious they are. And I'm very glad that Okada recorded this, not just only the Tsunetane Oda footage you are seeing here in front of you. So this video, I like a small compilation of like rare details in takedowns, and also a little bit of detailing in newaza that can be added to your basics. In my opinion, that can help, especially the guard pass with how to pin the arms and also proceed to choke without even completing the pass. So if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. I have exclusive content for the patrons only. And also, please do not forget to check out Josh Simon's shop for articles and t-shirts. This was Shadi, and as always, thank you for listening.